Hello out there in the land of drumming. This is actually the first time that I'm not going to play the drums, and I'm going to make a special statement, which I've been wanting to make for a really, really long time. It's very interesting. This has a lot to do with the many new segments that Dan Britt has put up, and I wanted to thank him very specially. Dan and I have become really, really good friends over the last maybe 2 or 3 years, and really, really good friends. And Dan has become kind of a mentor to me. You know, it's really kind of weird, right? Because here's what happened. There was a very, very significant period in time where, you know, I was kind of producing so many television shows. You know, I've recorded 7 seasons worth of explanative shows. And also, too, if you guys ever go to my website, you'll see many of the different explanatives up there. JEFFINDYKE.com. Hundreds and hundreds of cassettes, CDs, DVDs. And Dan said to me at one point, you know, I miss the times, when, you know, you used to just solo on those ideas, you know, and really let loose and play. Which I was doing a lot more of when I think I produced maybe the first, I don't know, maybe the first 56 concepts. In those days, those were really those days, those monster roll days, you know, and those buddy days, those days when I sat for hours and hours and hours, and worked on the soloing fashion. And Dan said, you know, I really miss the days when you're doing that. And then I had come to the realization that I had not really spent that much time soloing, you know, that I had gotten so involved in producing all these instructionals, which I'm very proud of, by the way, and you know, the public has been very appreciative of in terms of being able to figure things out, that I kind of got lost on the sheet, you know, that I was so in the textbook, not that I work out of textbooks, but I was so looking at the sheet that, you know, I forgot what it was like to actually solo. And then I attended a Dave Weckl clinic, which was really quite phenomenal. And I, just out of curiosity, clocked Dave's solo at about 25 minutes. It was literally a journey. I mean, the guy, played. And he went through a whole journey, of all the current ideas, that he was playing on. But it was straight through. I mean, he didn't stop, he didn't talk, he just played. And I was really impressed with the stamina and just the intensity that he just played that way. And I had realized I had lost that. You know, I had really not paid that much attention to that element. So I began, and it's about a year now, it's going to be about a year anniversary, just, you know, taking the microphone away and producing shows and producing segments where I spoke about what I was going to play on, but I didn't explain anything. I just played it I revisited, and I literally revisited the first 2 seasons of the Jeff Indyke Drum Education Show, complete, where I went through every featured idea and played. And you guys can catch those shows. They eventually will air, and I'll let you know about those. But the point basically being is that by me taking the microphone away and playing, that enabled me to revisit, you know, the roots of where I came from, you know, and I'll tell you, if you look at the earlier segments, you know, the earlier things that are on YouTube, just when I was starting, this was actually right before I put the sunglasses on, because about that time I ran into a vision problem with the lighting. If you look at some of the attempts there and some of those earlier shows, and you know, and then you look more recently, you'll see that I kind of gravitated to more of an intense level. And Dan complimented me, you know, when I sent him some of the newer films that said, you know, you're now on a one step beyond or one step above where you were. And but coming from Dan, that's a tremendous compliment. And the public, you know, began to do that. And then when we did the clinic for Sam Ash, which was about a year ago, well, maybe a little less than a year ago, you know, it was at that time that I prepared. And if you guys look at that solo, you'll see that was really my first attempt in a live situation in many years, you know, to play a total solo. And I thought, you know, for the first time, that I did that in a live setting, that there were a lot of things that I looked at that I felt that I could have, performed better. But in looking at it, right, I was really proud, right, that I took that step, and I took a crack at that. And then also, too, performing my own music, which is another topic, and that's something that I'm doing more and more of. And finally, performing to music, which you guys can see on many of the segments. So really, I feel, right, that, I really wanted to particularly thank Danny Britt for saying, that he missed those days that I had really sat, and just played. And, after a year of doing that, I feel, right, better than ever. I don't know, right, if I'm on the level, right, of where I was 25 years ago, but I'm certainly having a really, really great time. So it's real weird, right, how like a certain thing that a certain person says, right, at the right time, and being open, as Don Famularo, the ambassador, once said, to staying a student, that, Dan's suggestion to me to do that. And, he said it, right, a while ago, but it took a while, right, for me to take the step and have done that. And, really also, too, I wanted to thank, right, the public for their reaction. And a lot of people, right, that have seen the Jeff Indyke Drum Education Show, Season 8, which has been, right, 2 seasons worth of revisitations, have been calling in saying, wow, nice work, man. We're really enjoying that. And the other thing, too, which is real cool, is I have friends, right, that are not drummers, that now can sit through the show and kind of enjoy it, right, from maybe a regular person point of view. And it's really lovely, right, because I have people watching the show that are not drummers that say, yeah, I caught your show, I was able to, like, sit through it for a lot longer because, you were playing and you were impressionizing and it looked like you were having a lot more fun there. Now, that's not to say that I won't go back, right, at one point to explanatives. But at this stage, right, I'm revisiting all the explanatives. And I figure, right, at the rate that I'm going, all right, because I've only revisited, right, really the first 2 seasons, part of the Mike Clark files, I've got quite a long way to go until, right, I revisit every season. And it's going to take quite a few years. I mean, it's taken me 1 year to revisit 2 seasons. So if you can figure it out, all right, there's a few more years down the line. And I'm hoping, right, that by the time, all right, I have revisited everything and improvised everything, I'll expand that. I just wanted to finish it, right, with a saying that I picked up, right, from Dr. Wayne Dyer. Dan is a really great philosopher, and he quotes a lot of people, and I think you'll enjoy this, that Oliver Wendell Holmes once said that when the mind is, I don't know exactly how he said it, but he said when the mind is expanded to a higher level than what it's capable of, or it's stretched, it's never really quite the same. And that's what I feel that I have accomplished here by doing this. And well, anyway, this is really the first time, right, that I've actually, right, spoke with everybody, and I'm really appreciative of everybody. And as somebody once said, and he's going to win an Oscar for this saying, and it's all part of the plan. And thank you.